LPNA quarterly meeting. We're really happy to see the people that are in person, and we're happy to see all the attendees on Zoom. So we're gonna just get started here, and I'll introduce the board. We have Barbara Knupp over here, who is the treasurer. Hi. Our fearless leader, Greg Peck, who's the president. I'm Karen Latin. I'm the vice president. And we have Lynn, Steele. I forgot. Who's the secretary. Hello. We have Alan Chan, who's on the camera. He's our member at large, and he is he mans the camera, does our filming and our website and
anything technical.
Anything technical. Is Peter? No. Here. And with Peter Chen is a new member at large as well. He's not here right now. So again, thank you for calling, or thank you for coming. So one of the things we wanted to talk about kind of off the bat is we are getting ready for National Night Out, which is August 1st. And that is one of the premier events that we put on. It's a huge event. We usually have about 500 people. And we want to make sure it goes off successfully. So we really need volunteers to help to do things like handing out the free pizza, signups, volunteers.
There's a sit down opportunity at the sign-in table for someone who doesn't want to spend a lot of time standing.
Oh, yes, we do a chalk art contest for the kids, and we need about 3 or 4 judges for that. So if you guys are inclined to help out on the day, it's August 1st from 5 to 8 p.m. Just send an email to vp@lospaseos.com and just say that you want to volunteer, and we'd be happy for you to help. So the next item on our agenda is a treasurer report and park National Night Out update by Barbara.
Okay.
You want to just share your slide?
Yes, can you, my slides up? My pretty pictures.
This one. I think it's this one. No. Where the hell did it go?
You can just do PowerPoint if it's in PowerPoint in it. Maybe just do screen and then find it.
Had it going earlier.
Well, I'll talk about the grant first. That it just has some bullet points. It doesn't have any pretty pictures. So we have each year we get a grant from the city. We have to apply for it. This year's grant was a little late. There were some administrative issues, unforeseen, but the grant was just awarded. So we received 5,000. We will be receiving. The award's been made. We don't actually have to catch up. We've been awarded $5,000, which is the maximum that you can apply for with the grant, and we have to use it by December 31st. Most of the grant goes for 2 projects. National Night Out is $2,100. That's our big community event of the year, and I'll talk more about that later. The second big project is a community planting project. We've planted trees in the park, but we haven't done a community residential planting. So that's something that we're going to be doing for the first time. We work with our city forest. And the city has a program, an agenda to increase the green canopy in the city, to make our city greener, to reduce the heat island effect, where cities that are all concrete are measurable degrees hotter than the surrounding area. So the city has that as a significant agenda item, so that this is possible for us to do under our grant. So we have money to use for a limited number of free trees for residents who have a space at the street to put a tree and agree to maintain the trees. And that's a $250 value, because that's what the charge is if you just go to our city forest and want to plant a tree, they will charge you $250. So we have the grant to cover this. We also, if we have more interest than that, we also have potential for some contributions to cover it. And I've been given a hint as to another possible funding source. So if we use up our money, we'll create a waiting list and see if we can dig up some more funding. There'll be outreach to the neighborhood with flyers and emails and probably some more publicity at the National Night Out as well. So just stay tuned and you'll hear more about it in more detail. So park update. We've been busy bees in the park. In December, in pouring rain, as Lynn can attest to, we planted 10 trees in the park. And in the picture on the left is one of the maple trees. There's another one in the background. We planted 3 maple trees along the path by Martin Murphy. We planted 2 oak trees. The next picture is one of the oak trees. On the hill where some trees were taken down within the last couple of years because they were not healthy. And those trees should get big and provide a good bit of shade on that hilltop, which will be nice. And we also planted 5 elm trees, and these are hybrids that are supposedly resistant to Dutch elm disease. So hopefully they will grow and thrive. And 5 elm trees around the swing set. And we have to water those. So in the summertime, starting now, basically, we have to water them every week by hand with a hose. We can't use irrigation.
Thank you, Barbara.
Because they're too spread out. And it's only the first 3 years that you have to water them. And then once they're established, they don't need it. On the other side are some pictures from our garden. The big project in the native plant garden, which we planted originally in 2020, is the drip line. The city did come through on their promise and gave us a connection and a valve meter to control the drip line. We just had to lay the drip line and get it to each of the plants. So that was our spring project, and it's done, and the drip line is working. And we still do some hand watering because some of the plants need more water than others, and so you have to keep an eye on things and do some hand watering. But it takes a good bit of the burden off. The plants are growing and flowering. One of the pictures has a bee on the coyote mint. Coyote mint was a surprise to me. It was a plant I'm not familiar with. It's really pretty. I planted it in my own yard now. Other wildlife that I've seen in the garden, and one of the things you have to remember, this garden was dead flat clay with absolutely nothing growing on it when we planted it. And I've seen in the garden on the plants a praying mantis, a small lizard, bluebirds and hummingbirds, and many bees. So if you plant it, they will come. I also want to talk about the volunteering in the park. We've logged, because we have formally adopted the park, we report our volunteer hours to the park. We logged 60 hours of volunteer time between January and today. It's over 60 hours. We meet with park management and staff. We water the trees. We tend the native plant garden. And for the watering and the tending of plants, we could use some more volunteers. Alan Chan takes care of the plastic bags for the dog walkers in the dispensers in the park and keeps them full. Greg and a couple of other people monitor the park for issues, maintenance issues, any issue of concern. And recently there has been graffiti in the men's room.
Frequently.
And it's been cleaned, and repeatedly, at least 3 times, it's come back, like within a day or 2. So we have reported it to the police and to the Parks Department. The people responsible for cleaning the graffiti is a contractor that the parks contracts with to clean the restrooms. And we're trying to work with park management on some strategies to reduce the temptation to repeat this, but that's in the works. Okay, and the next thing is National Night Out. It's our big community event, as I said. Pre-COVID, we got up to 500 people. Last year, we had 300, and that was so exciting. No, sorry, 2 years ago, we had 300. Last year, all of a sudden, we were back to 500, and we were scrambling to get more pizza and more ice cream. So we're going to plan for 500 this year. It's on August 1st. It's always on the first Tuesday in August, which happens to be August 1st this year, from 5 to 8 in the park. And we hand out food and water, and we have entertainment and games and a chalk art contest, and the police come and the fire department comes, brings a truck if they, assuming they're not out on call, and community tables of vendors who are our sponsors, our neighborhood businesses that help us put the event on, and nonprofits that have a mission to explain to you. I'm pleased that Five Star Pizza has stepped up to the plate again to provide us with the pizza again. They did a marvelous job last year. We worked with them very closely. They were very easy to work with. They made timed, like every 45 minutes, another 20 pizzas hot appeared. It really worked out very well, and they're going to do it for us again. We have our ice cream vendor back again. And we have a couple of other sponsors that have come forward. Grocery Outlet will help us out again with various supplies, and they will have a table. And they're very loyal to the neighborhood and very in favor of anything that helps the neighborhood. Also, Starbucks will be a new volunteer, a new sponsor this year. They sponsored Coffee with a Cop in the neighborhood, and that was a nice event. And they're very interested in being more involved in the neighborhood. I think it's in their goals for this year. We need volunteers for this event. So, and there are a number of different roles that are some more active, some less active, but anybody who's interested can speak to any one of us. And we'll be sending out emails and approaching people who've volunteered in the past. And I think that's it for mine.
The next we're talking communication.
Let me introduce him first.
Okay.
I'd like to introduce a member of Cortese's office. If you would please introduce yourself.
Hey, everyone.
Hold on a second. I'm gonna also let the people in the audience know. Okay,
There we go.
you're right there.
That's fine.
That's perfect.
Hey, guys, I'm Ajlouny. I'm one of the insurance representative for Senator Cortese. I just wanted to give a couple of the updates on some events we're gonna have. So one event is gonna be on June 24th, and Senator Cortese will be having yes, speaker. So if you guys have any state or legislative issues, or at least want to have a conversation or have any questions to address, please feel free to come to that event. Again, Senator Cortese will be there.
Where is it?
It is Mount Pleasant High School. Yeah, on June 24th from 1 p.m. to 2 p.m. So the second event we have is House Fair and Wellness Walk at the Eastern Center on June 30th from 8 a.m. to 11 a.m. So basically just joining us for community health fair and finding out more information regarding health and wellness. So if anyone's interested, I can read flyers with you guys and pass them.
And what's the date on
But yeah, but
June 30th.
if you guys have any questions, concerns, I'm here for you guys. So I'm just an intern, so I don't know how much I'll be able to answer right now, but I can definitely take it back to district office, and we should be able to reach out to you guys when they're on. So please feel free to reach out to our office.
Thank you.
Let's get again.
Yeah, there we go. I think that's good. Perfect.
We can send that out information out in an email.
Yes.
Yeah, that would be good.
So now we're doing the communication methods.
Okay.
That's you.
Mm.
Really between them. I'm just got some.
I know it's all messed up still.
I shouldn't read that out. The communication method.
Oh. I'd like to bring up the communication method that we use to get in touch with our members is done right now by me using a blind copy list. And it's at my computer and nobody else shares those emails. So we're thinking of getting a little bit more modern and advanced so that we can present our information to you using something like Constant Contact or MailChimp or something of that nature. So there will be an email going out to all members telling them of this changeover and asking if anybody would have a problem with being on an email list of that nature, which is a kind of classic way people do things today. Blind copies is a little dangerous because if you CC'd the whole list, then everybody gets to see. So I think that something like Constant Contact or MailChimp would be a better way to go. So we'll be sending out information on that soon.
Right, will this still be like an email format or?
Yes.
Maybe a little slicker looking email.
I can blow.
No, prettier.
Captain Donohue, would you like to give an update?
Hi, everybody. How are you guys? Can you hear me okay?
Hold on a second. No, boy.
Should they come here?
Yeah. Hold on a second.
That's you.
I can hear you. Can you hear me?
We can hear you out in the audience, so.
Okay.
Awesome. Thanks, Herb. All right. I'll just wait till the people in the clubhouse have their sound squared away, and then we'll go for it. This is where you ask how many board members does it take to fix the sound on a Zoom meeting?
That isn't fair, okay? Come on.
Attaboy, Herb.
Hey, your last staff meeting, I bet you there were some issues, right?
Every staff meeting, everyone. It's like it's the first time we've ever used Zoom.
Right. So since they're doing that stuff, we sent you a note about the bathrooms in the parks.
Yeah.
And getting gang task force going on that. I've been talking to my park guys, the supervisor, and we're not the only park that's having Ramac, and it's the Nortinos. I mean, I've got a bunch of gang things going, but the thing is, every time we clean it up and it's messed up again, they bust stuff. We're spending thousands of dollars on these guys. This task force can do something, or do they have time?
Well, I can get the VSET guys to go down there and hit it. I actually have good info on when the people are at Ramac. When they're hanging out there, they apparently are following a pattern, which is really good for me. Then we can just hit it when they're there. The other parks are kind of hit and miss to see if we can catch them there. We're going to do it in the evenings when it's warm, when the kids are hanging out before dinner, that kind of thing, and see if we can catch them. So I've got some patrol checks going on. I've got the gang investigations units aware. I showed them all the graffiti, and then I've got our violent crimes enforcement team that'll come down there and take a look.
Okay, and then get with Veronica. She's the supervisor. They need to close those down. The staff wasn't closing them, so that was an issue too.
I talked to Veronica. Actually, I think she replied to you on the email saying that, hey, look, they're shut down at the regular time. They're supposed to be shut down. Does that sound familiar?
I don't think so. So they're trying to get another shift there, but the whole idea is we have a tennis court that's open till 10 o'clock. So supposedly we're supposed to have the bathrooms open for that, but I don't think we need to.
Okay, I did see an email from Veronica. Let me see if I can pull it up.
Yeah, I mean, just you guys, if you have the time to go after it, I mean, we're spending a lot of time. Parks is spending money replacing towel dispensers, cleaning up this stuff. And, you know, if they're really gang guys, then I want you guys to grab them, or they're just wannabes. That's a question too.
Okay, so she did respond. She said, we're aware of the issue and are working with our best restroom contractor to ensure the restrooms are closed at an appropriate time to prevent late night vandalism.
Okay.
So I don't know what that is, but I know she's aware of it.
Yeah, there was a question too that just popped up. Who are these guys? These gang size, the X10s and X, you know, have you look in the chat?
Yeah, so let me see. Let me chat here. XIV, okay, that's yeah. And then put it outside 2 days. Okay, so XIV stands for the 14th letter of the alphabet. This is for an N, and it's Norteño gangs. So Norteño, Northerner, Norte, that kind of thing. So we're seeing a lot of Barrio Azteca or Azteca Norte coming into the area. They're kind of up and coming as one of our gangs that we have down here. We've had some old school ones like Hogs and all that, but VAN, I'm seeing a lot of tagging, and every time I see it, I get a picture and I send it over to our gang investigations and our violent crimes team so that they can kind of hit that area and squash it so it doesn't they don't gain roots there. So if you have gang graffiti, I need you to report it right on the 311 app, but I also want to see it myself. Like if you can email me a picture of it and the location and when you noticed it, like where, you know, what date, so that I can kind of keep my eye on that graffiti. I can't be everywhere all at once, right? So it at least gives me a good clearinghouse of information.
So are these guys, do you see a crime uptick with these guys?
No.
Okay, that's what, yeah,
Not yet,
all right.
no.
They're wannabes.
No,
All right, thank you.
Yeah, no increase in crime right now. They're just all, you know, tagging up
I
and
get
want to
it.
hang out in the parks. And you're going to see a ton more graffiti in the parks. Kids are out of school, right? You're going to see a huge uptick. We see it every summer where they get out of school, they go hang out in the parks. You know, report it to us if you see them out there drinking or causing problems, that kind of thing. Let us know, and we'll do what we can to get out there. Okay, LPNA board, did you guys fix your sound yet? Am I good to
Yes.
go?
Yes.
Awesome. All right, everybody.
Let me answer a question
So-
for Julie. Captain, can I please answer a question for Julie regarding the slide graffiti? I went over there today, Julie, and there was no graffiti on the slide. Maybe you could call me and tell me where you saw it. So that's it. Thank you, Captain.
Okay. So I'll start at the beginning because not everybody knows who I am. My name is Steve Donohue. I'm your Southern Division captain. And I came out to Southern Division the first week of February. I took over for Brian Matchett. So I've been to one of your meetings before. So I wanted to kind of just start at the beginning and go over everything. Would it be all right if I shared my screen?
Yeah.
You got to let me.
Yeah.
You guys are very controlling. Very controlling. I can't share my screen.
We were Zoom bombed once.
Were you really? Oh my gosh.
Yes.
I
Early in
promise I will
COVID.
not stand up. That's not gonna. You guys are gonna be all right. Awesome. All right. So first thing I'm going to show you is this. This is my, I'm big on QR codes because they're super easy to use, right? So if you get out your phone and you go to your camera and you go like you're going to take a picture of the screen, what it'll do is it'll give you an option to check that link. That QR code will automatically pop up as a link. I can see she's doing it right now. And what that's going to do is that's going to take you to my Southern Division website. Now, from there, you can email me. You can email any one of our 3 crime prevention specialists. You can read a little bit about Southern Division. I got some cool info on there. We have 170 people that work in my division, from officers to CSOs to crime prevention specialists. We got a lot of cool stuff, right? We've got the only drive-in San Jose. We've got golf courses And we have more city, county, and regional parks than any other division, which is also cool. So this is my easiest way to get a hold of me is via email. I'm really responsive over email. I'm very good about it. If it's emergency, don't email me, right? It's an emergency, call 911. But if it's something you can wait a little bit for me to respond to, email me and I will get back to you. Nothing falls through the cracks in my email. And I routinely keep it under 10 messages, which means I'm constantly going through it. Okay. The next thing I'm going to show you here is this is the CAM program. This is a camera archive and mapping system. It's a new thing that we put out this spring. And what it does is it basically is a database for you to put that you have cameras on your house, how many you have or what, like how long they store, like a month, a week, whatever, 10 days, and your contact info. And that's it. Like, we don't want access to your cameras. I am not asking you to give me access. I don't want your login and password or any of that. All I want to know is that you have them. And then what we do is we can email a group of cameras based on this GIS mapping that we're using. So let's say something happens in your neighborhood in Los Paseos, you can put it on there and then email it out. Now, I did look before the meeting and you guys are killing it. You have a ton. I think you have more than anyone else in the city, but it's not perfect because not everybody's on there. So no, don't laugh. You guys, I can see you on the camera laughing. You guys, you're doing good, but you're not
We have so many
perfect.
cameras.
So let's get on there and make sure everybody in your neighborhood's on there. Okay. Now, I will stop sharing for just a moment because I'm going to talk about some stats. So what I do before every meeting is I'll pull your stats for your area, kind of see what's going on. You guys have had 5 burglaries in the last 3 months, which is nothing. That's unbelievable. There's very few burglaries, which is really awesome. 4 of them were commercial and only 1 was residential, which tells me only 1 house getting broken into in 3 months is pretty awesome. So I'm very happy with that. And then you had a robbery, which I didn't like. You had a carjacking at the corner of Bernal and Santa Teresa. So I pulled up that event and looked into it. And what I found out happened is that an unidentified suspect. There's somebody in the waiting room here. All right, sorry, it popped up on mine because they should let me show the screen. So unidentified suspect brandished a knife at a woman at Senator Teresa and Bernal, took her car and drove off. 2 hours later, we caught him. It was 2 juveniles and they're in custody, and we booked him into juvenile hall. So that was solved within 2 hours, which is very cool. We have no aggravated assaults, no homicides. There were 5 injury vehicle collisions in the last 3 months. 2 of them were minor injury and 3 were major injury. And these all primarily happen on Bernal and Santa Teresa corridors, as we can expect, right? So in our last meeting, you asked for the radar trailer to come down there and post up on the hill coming over from Coyote Valley over by Martin Murphy. So we did. It was out there within a couple of weeks, and it spent a few days out there, which is kind of cool. And then we've also had our motors unit come out and write some tickets. So the way the citations work is they don't divide it up on where they wrote the citations. They put the list of the places that they went to, the total citations for that day. So as you know, we only have like 6 motors units, right? I think it's 8 actually in the whole city. So on May 31st, they went out and they wrote 108 citations and gave 5 warnings. And on May 4th, they were at Bernal and Santa Teresa and they did 154 citations that day and 4 warnings. So that tells me that motors has been out there, the trailer's been out there. We've done what we could to kind of slow people down and do some calming for now, which is good. Then we have proactivity, and these are events where officers are doing something to thwart crime. And there were 32 of those in your area in the last 90 days, which It's a pretty good number considering you've only had one residential burglary. So you're still getting attention, which is good. And the majority of those are going to be the patrol checks that I request of my officers. I ask them to go out and look at the bathrooms, look at the park, roll through the area, things like that. And I know they're doing it for two reasons. One is they created events for patrol checks. There was 15 of those, and they were flagged down 7 times. So that tells me they're in the area and people are flagging them down and asking them questions and reporting things. And you don't flag down a cop behind a target. So that's a good sign to see them out there and getting flagged down. All right. And the last thing I'm going to talk about, I'm going to share my screen again, is fireworks. So fireworks. So you guys know we had a major incident the other day, yesterday, over on Blossom Hill Road. Are you aware of this? Giant fire.
Yes.
Okay, so what happened was someone was storing the illegal fireworks in a storage container and somebody else let them off. So for hours, the fire department was trying to put out the fireworks, but they kept going off. The building was destroyed, but it stayed isolated to that building, which is good. It didn't hit the community center. The fire department was right there because they were, 100 feet from where it started going off. So, but we were out there for a long time. It was right during commute hours. We had to shut down Blossom Hill Road. There was smoke inhalation issues and all that kind of stuff. So it was a big deal. But I say this because it was a storage container full of illegal fireworks. So we know they're here, right? We know they're in San Jose. You are going to have fireworks issues. And the question is twofold. One, what are the police doing about it? And two, what do you do about it? So to answer the first question is each divisional captain was given the opportunity to make their own divisional fireworks plan, what we're doing. And so for my division, what we did is we said, okay, we're going to do a multi-prong approach. I want intelligence. So I'm sending out my patrol cars, my pay cars, my foot patrols, all that to find hotspots. I pulled the council members to find hotspots. I sent it to every neighborhood association to find hotspots. And with this, we're able to get a pretty good list. Now it's not complete because I still need, some more people to keep responding, but we're getting a good idea of where we're having fireworks problems in Southern. The next thing we're doing is for the last 2 weeks of the month, so starting this weekend, anytime there's a fireworks call at the police department, they're going to send my pay cars to it. So my pay cars are going to voluntarily go over there and see if they can do something about it. A lot of times what we'll find is, let's say Joe Blow goes and buys a whole bunch of fireworks in Reno and he comes back over here. Well, he wants to test them out. He always wants to test them before the 4th of July, which is a great opportunity for us to go take them, all the rest of them. So we're going to do that. And if we can catch them, awesome. And then the third part of this is on the 4th of July. We've put a pay car out to have 2 officers and 1 sergeant work that day to see if they can kind of catch people in the act. They'll be patrolling the hotspots. They're not going to respond to any calls for service for fireworks. They're only going to go hotspot to hotspot to try to thwart the particular locations we've identified. And the reason for that is because I only get 2 officers and 1 sergeant. I just don't have the staffing. And in all likelihood, it's not going to get filled. Cops want to stay home with their families on the 4th of July and have a barbecue. And this is a voluntary pay car. So truth be told, I don't know that they're going to volunteer for this. If they do, that's what I'm going to have them do. But if they don't, then patrol's going to be out there patrolling the hotspots for us too. So on the day of and leading up to the 4th of July, we need your help. And that's what this flyer is for. You have to report it to us. Now there's 2 ways to report. You can report it anonymously, or you can report it with your information logged into the app. If you report it with your information, code enforcement may give them a citation or a warning. And the citations are awesome. They are $1,000 citations, which is fantastic. Imagine getting a $1,000 ticket in the mail because you let off some fireworks a few days ago. It'd be great. If you report it anonymously, though, we will only use it for statistics, and we need that. So please, even if you don't want to give your information, report it anonymously so that we can come back later and see where the problems are. And we can show the city, hey, we need enforcement. Let's create like a block of enforcement prior to the 4th of July, which we've done in the past. We just didn't get funded for it this year. So it's important to me, it's important to your neighbors for you to do this. Now, when you do it, you can take pictures of the fireworks, which is totally legit, right? Everybody wants to take pictures of fireworks. Go ahead and do that. Don't tell your neighbor, hey, I'm taking a picture of the fireworks to report you. That's going to upset them. Just take a picture of the fireworks and just report them. Okay. And then you don't have to get into a conflict with your neighbors. You can just report them and then we'll take care of it on the back end. And we need an address for the reporting. So now I can answer any questions you have over anything I talked about or anything else you want to talk about.
First of all, are there any questions in the audience that you guys want to ask? How about in the chat? You click on the chat.
I have a question.
Okay.
So last night we were walking, and amidst all the smoke from the firework fire, we noticed as we were coming down from Santa Teresa to Bernal, there were every corner there was some homeless person sleeping on the grass areas, on the little knolls. And so it was kind of surprising because I walk every night. This was the first night I saw like 4 different homeless, single people by themselves. So I don't know, was another place kind of disbanded and that's why they're shifting out this way? Or because it was just really obvious that there were so many last night out just sleeping on the grass and Michelle or the other gas station out here.
Yes, so thank you for your question. There's been a few catalyzing events that have happened just north of us that have created some more homeless influx into the area. So when a homeless encampment gets swept and the people choose not to avail themselves of the services we're providing, they just move out and either move back in or move somewhere else, right? And I've been getting a lot of complaints about the tents that are bordering Monterey Road and the railroad tracks between Bernal and Blossom Hill Road, all along Monterey. And I've also seen an influx of RVs into the area. So a lot of this is because of some of the other sweeps that have been happening around our area. I know that Homeless Concerns and Beautify San Jose are totally aware of the encampments that have popped up, and they're heading out there and providing services and doing the same thing. And right now it's just kind of a lot of shuffling. And every time they shuffle, we provide them services. We try to get them into interim housing. We try to get them back on their feet, but not always successful because sometimes people don't want to live in those areas. They don't want to abide by the rules for those areas, things like that. So that's kind of what's happening. Last night was a bit of an anomaly. Because of where the fire was, there's an encampment by it. So that got everybody kind of ran off from there. Plus the air quality around that area where there was a whole bunch of encampments made it so they all just kind of scattered for a little bit. And they were out and about the neighborhood, but they did go back today for a lot of the ones that we saw that kind of scattered, and they all kind of came back to their camps later on today. So it's kind of both things that are happening right now. I know Councilmember Batra is probably going to speak about some of the EIH plans and then the RV plan. So I don't want to take his thunder because I know he's going to talk about that. Does that answer your question, ma'am?
Yep, thank you.
All right. Thank you, Captain.
All right.
Yeah, thank you very
Thank you.
much. Thank you for all the tickets. I love the tickets.
Herb.
Over 200. Well, and I'm
Yeah.
working with DOT to do Blossom Hill and Oak Grove, the high schools there. So when that happens, we're putting new signage out there. I might need motors to go out.
right.
Okay. No
Yeah.
problem. No problem.
Appreciate it. Thank you.
All right.
Thank
I
you.
hope to, now I'm not going to see you guys till like National Night Out, right?
We'll be there.
Yeah,
Yep.
Oh, no more
Okay,
meeting.
so listen,
yeah, no more
there's
meetings.
no meeting
until
between now and then, right?
No, no.
Yeah,
Correct.
okay, so listen, I'm looking forward to seeing you guys on National Night Out. I'll definitely have some officers over there, and then I'll try to stop by. You know, there's only one of me and I got a whole division, but I'll do the best I can because I like you guys. Don't tell the other neighborhood associations. Okay. But listen, have a great summer. And if I don't see you folks, and I'll see you at National Night Out.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right. Thank you. Councilman Arjun Batra, are you available to say anything? And are you still there? Councilmember Arjun Batra?
Yes, yes, I'm available. Good
I hope
evening.
you're feeling better. I hope you're feeling better.
I tested COVID positive, but my energy is back. Throat isn't. So I've been continuing to do all the meetings from home since Monday, including the council meeting on Tuesday, the 13-hour marathon session. So, but I don't have any issues about the energy. Its throat doesn't sound too good. So I'm sure it's sounding little rough kind of a voice, but otherwise I think I can carry on and I have to stay away from people. All right.
Thank you for being here.
All right. Okay. So would you like me to take 5 minutes or so and talk about our district? Okay.
Yes,
All right.
yes.
Hey, thank you very much. You know, like the captain said, this is one of our favorite group we want to be with. And I appreciate all the emails which I received during the budget time. My inbox was reasonably well flooded. And I appreciate that because we really need to, the whole purpose of us being there is to really know what our people are feeling, because that's only way we can represent what our community wants. So I'm glad that you sent those emails. And I believe I have acknowledged most, if not all by now. If they haven't been acknowledged, they will be. And it does not matter whether you were for item A, for or against. Your input is equally valuable, whether it is for or against. And I intend to acknowledge everyone's contribution and use that information to form my decisions about what I am going to do. Okay. So please keep sending those emails as required. So like the most important thing which has recently happened in the city is that the city has passed its budget yesterday. Yeah. Most of the budget was non-controversial, with one item, how much money we want to take out of Measure E towards affordable homes versus homelessness, immediate shelters. All of that emphasis which our mayor had put on, that we want to increase safety, we want to increase our policing efforts, increasing the budget for the police, including the community service officers and all that. His priority, which was based on your input, all got carried. Okay? And for the fire area, the fire chief recommended some changes to the fire area. He wants to add a 6th battalion. As a result, he wanted to take something else out, which was called Med 30 for the detail purposes. The community and the administration felt pretty strongly what the chief wanted to do. is the right thing to improve services, fire services. So he was given all that, but the community didn't feel good about taking the Med 30 immediately out, not having tried out that the new part of the organization is working as effectively as the other. So we actually gave another 6 months worth of money for those positions which were being eliminated, whose work was going to be absorbed by the other parts of the organization. So we said, let transition that work and prove that it is properly transitioned. And at the end of the 6 months, we'll review if the transition has gone right. We will either at that time let those positions go, or if the transition isn't properly complete, it needs more time, we'll extend that activity beyond. So a nice, more efficient organization is being created with the help of this battalion chief, and we are making sure that the transition is effective and smooth. So that's regarding the fire department area. Okay. Every council member made requests for certain amount of money, which we call the essential services request. Like every other division, or the district, we requested $150,000 for celebrating the 4th of July safely. And the word safely is the most important part, which is why what the captain just described to you, that the illegal fireworks and all that causes troubles. Alberton Lake has been celebrating that 4th of July with its fireworks so that we are able to do that safely for our neighborhoods with 30 to 35,000 people attending it. So we have that money given to us to plan and execute our 4th of July celebration. In addition to that, we have received $58,000, $58,709 to be precise, okay? And we'll have to count each one. That's for what is called the Viva Parks, 5 events. So we will be able to hold in District 10, Viva Parks, to be able to build our community and let them come and enjoy their summers. So that's $58,709 given to us. And we will be asking the Parks Department to put those together for us. In addition to this, we had also requested some money for the lighting at Hoffman Viamonte. It required 3 levels of parking. Knowing that the money isn't going to be coming that easy, we tried to identify the item 1. If we only have money this much, item 1 should be done. If we have a little more, item 2 should be also done. And item 3 should be. Did not put it as a block because we may not have gotten anything. So we got the money for the first item, which was the lighting, $190,000. We have been allocated that. But for the item 2 and 3, we didn't get totally denied. We just got told that this item is a safety item for which federal grants are called under the block grants are usually available. So our Public Works Department will apply for those grants, and the confidence level that we can get those grants for this particular work is very, very high. So if we get those federal grants, we'll be able to get all of either the item 2 and item 3 done, or at least more than 1. We are guaranteed to get 1, likely 2 and 3 as well. So Mayor did a great job of taking our request, combining it with all the other ones in that area. In addition to this, we get through the Department of Transportation another $200,000 worth of safety requests, which we can make. So like humps on the road and all that, which we will be working with you to identify where we may need those kind of facilities. And Department of Transportation or Traffic is holding that money, and we'll be able to make those requests and get those. Those don't specifically show under District 10 or given to us under any BD. That's a normal process. And we've been assured that that money does exist for as well, okay? Regarding 4th of July, one thing I do want to mention is that we do need volunteers, just like the request was made for the National Night. Michelle Dexter is desperately looking for your volunteers to make the 4th of July as safe and successful as it has been. So please help find us the volunteers and make this event as usual, a success regarding the 4th of July, okay? I want to share one thing. Encampments have become a life for us. But encampments are both, they look like as if they are unmanaged. City is going to be putting together an encampment management system, computer system together. You don't see it very well highlighted in any of the budget area, but I work with the IT people very, very closely. They have shown me the plans that they're going to build an encampment management system where the data is going to be kept track of at an encampment level, okay? So it is like a CRM system, but the CRM client in this case, or the customer, is encampment. Every contact made there, every visit made there, every resource given, every call originating, it will get all tracked in that area. It will not have personally identifiable information for the people in there, but it will use them item 1 or person 1 as that kind of a story, okay? So I think that will help us provide some data which will be able to more effectively manage these things from being a totally unmanaged environment, okay? And those were the quick items I wanted to share. Because I think we may be running out of time more than what you had allocated. So if you want to ask me some specific question, I'm more than happy to answer. And in a future meeting, I'll be more than happy to bring you the overall details of the budget if you want.
Any questions here? Anybody on chat? Can you check chat?
I have a question. So I believe it was last week when they had the big meeting about the EIH sites around our area, which crosses District 2 and 10.
Yeah.
One of the slides kind of showed a list of existing sites, proposed ones they wanted to recommend for approval. And that slide really surprised me because it mentioned 85 in Great Oaks, which we spent a lot of time last year pushing to get that site moved elsewhere, and then to see that it's still on the table as a possible future site was very disheartening, as well as the 2 other closest exits to our neighborhood. So my question for you is, how do we, I guess, get something passed, or how do we have some sort of guarantee for this area that this is not going to be a yearly conversation? We've already agreed or had so many sites put in this area, and they're still considering the possible donated site on, I think it's Via del Oro, which is 3 blocks from our neighborhood. How do we guarantee that this isn't just gonna keep being the easiest spot to put future sites, and they get prioritized for other districts, and it's not constantly causing stress to neighbors, at least like myself, who are very frustrated with it?
Yeah, so Julie, thanks for that question. You remember when that discussion was taking place, the question was at that time Via del Oro, and also the 2 of the sites from the D2 were the backup sites, and Hernandez, your council member, requested that those to be taken off the list in a way till we figure out the Cherry site, okay, as a primary site. And for all practical purposes, you can consider that those D2 sites are off the list for the time being, okay? till a clear decision about the Cherry side comes along. And D9 is where that is, and it's going to be the primary place, okay? And Via del Oro, I wrote the memo about that one, that it is only approved for getting the economics or the cost estimates to be brought forward. And the cost estimate should not just be the cost estimates for behind the gate, what happens. We have asked for it that the additional services outside the gate, because the community, even though the community does not see what's happening behind the gate, and behind the gate services are excellent. We've figured out right things to do and it all, feed them well, but the community's interaction with an EIH is around it. And those have to be equally acceptable if the people are going to be accepting these residents. And hence, the cost, the estimates will be coming back to the council for discussion. It doesn't even say for approval. It says for discussion, the memo, the way it was accepted. So.
And I saw those two amendments, which are great. My question is more, rather than addressing each of these as they're proposed to us, how do we get ahead of it and say, every other district needs to have this many sites or beds, or however you want to measure it, before you can propose more in this area? Because there's just so many, while other areas are just empty.
Okay, so I don't know, Julie, if you got the latest corrected one when that presentation was being made. Somebody notably made a good observation that the numbers on those slides were not correct. We have gotten those corrected from the housing area, or Omar Parsons, and we'll be happy to share that with you, or I can send it to the association here, and they can pass it on to you. That slide number 10 with the corrected number. You will see, yes, the EIH are, some of them are in D2 and D10, but there's a lot of those housing built around for the interim housing is actually in other areas, okay? In fact, I was looking at the numbers. You got the D2 right now, got around 196, and the excluding the under construction ones, which are 475 units, out of which 42 are the RVs, and 204 would be the Bernal, Montre Bernal, Brenham, Montre Bernal, which is not the same where the Bernal. So I'll get you the more site, and we're going to be keeping an eye on it. Both your council member Hernandez and I are together on this thing. We will not let it be working that all the concentration which you have been concerned about.
Thank you, council member. We do definitely need to move on, and thank you, Julie, for that question. Is there anybody else in the room here that has a question for a council member at this time? And Issa, you had your hand raised, so go ahead. And I'm going to unspot him.
So couple comments, council member. I think, and I'm doing this on the top of my head, but I think District 10 has actual 0 beds, because we're looking at a neighborhood area that consists of really District 2 that's pretty much our neighborhood. So I feel like you're going to have pressure, because when someone looks at it, they'll see District 10 has 0. Unless I'm wrong, is there any EIHs or tiny homes in District 10?
No. In D10, the only thing you have coming is right now, in the completed one, there is none. Under construction, which includes your VTA site, that's the only one which shows geographically in D10, okay? And under design, under consideration or recommended for site consideration is the Via del Oro, okay? Completed 0, under construction, VTA site, and then not even in design phase any, and in the for future consideration ones via Del Oro.
Okay, and my original question was for Via Del Oro, because you know I've been very detailed on that. And I
Yes.
really was happy that they accepted your memo. But what concerns me is your memo said enhanced services. And, you know, and I emailed Omar, what does that really mean? Because when you were discussing it in council meeting, you mentioned Cherry Avenue. Why can they have a no encampment zone? You know, why can't you have one in Via Del Oro? But yet the words in the memo said enhanced services. When I asked Omar, what does that enhanced services mean? And basically it doesn't mean no encampment. It just means they're gonna do the same thing they've been doing for the last year or two of giving people 12 by 12 sites, cleaning up. You know, they do that now with the current budget. They don't have a special agreement to do anything extra. So if something happened, you know, 2 miles from here and there's a problem, Beautify San Jose would use those same rules that he sent me a link to. So that concerns me, council member, that I feel like Omar's not really trying to manipulate. That's just my point of view.
Okay, so what I would suggest is not take too much time here because I think you got other items to cover. This item, I'm happy to take it. Well, I'm not happy, but I'm willing to take it offline and work it out detail with whoever you and others who are interested. We'll make sure that we are all aligned on it because whatever technical terms we'll use, the biggest portion to me is that what we create there has to be a welcoming environment from the community. If community doesn't feel comfortable about having this thing because it creates blight and other things or attracts more units, then it is a total failure for us. It doesn't get the job done. We will find the money wherever it needs to be found, okay? And we will get the job done. So let's stay aligned on it. For today, let's just leave it at that one, and we can have a separate meeting on it to discuss in detail with the people who are interested.
All right. Thank you very much, council member.
Thank you.
Issa, we need to move on. And Arjun,
Yeah.
take care of yourself. Take
All
care
right.
of yourself.
Hey,
Hope to see
thank
you
you
again.
very much. Thank you very much for your best wishes on that. I will be healthy next week back into the office.
All right. So our next presenter.
Yes, we wanted to welcome HomeFirst. They are going to be talking to us about the EIHs that currently exist in our area, as well as to the extent that they have information on the plans to expand Rue Ferrari. And I see, Jose, are you the presenter or can you tell me who else are you going to be presenting?
Hi there, yeah, good evening. So yeah, I will be presenting for today.
Okay, so we just made you a co-host, so do you have a slideshow to share, or would you like us to share it?
Whatever is easier for you.
It's easier probably for you two. We've been having a little trouble when we share and then have the screen. Do you mind?
Yeah, of course, I can take lead with the slide deck. Okay, so can you guys confirm that the presentation slide deck is visible?
Yes.
Great.
Yes.
So I'm going to go ahead and speak on behalf of HomeFirst here. So some of you who may not know about HomeFirst Services, we are a local nonprofit in the area. So primarily we focus on Santa Clara County, but have been recently expanding to other surrounding counties. My name's Jose. I'm the project manager for the EIH with Ferrari site. And so today I will be speaking a little bit of a broad overview of emergency interim housing and a little bit of our services and a little bit of insight into what these projects look like. So feel free to stop me at any time. I get into a habit of just getting into the conversations. And so if you're interested, please feel free to share. Okay, so what is our mission? What is our goal at HomeFirst Services? So our main goal is to just plain and simple end homelessness. So our main goal for this local nonprofit is to end homelessness in the area. And so that is achieved by just an array of services. So we support with housing programs, shelter settings, interim housing, such as I'm going to be speaking on today, and so on. And so not only getting people housed, but keeping housing. So it's super important to talk about retention. But more specifically, so of all those services that we've been talking about at HomeFirst, for today, I'm going to be speaking on interim housing. So for those of you who are not too familiar with the idea of interim housing projects, interim housing is intended to be time limited housing for individuals who are unhoused. And so the idea is to bridge the gap of folks who are staying on the streets with a place that is safe, where they can stabilize while they find their own permanent housing, whether it's through housing programs or on their own. So the intent of interim housing is to be the middle between somebody who is unhoused in the streets to when they have their own place. So there are two categories.
Excuse me for a second. Is there a possibility you could make this like a slideshow and show it full screen?
Sure. Is that better?
Yeah, that's much better.
Oh, sorry, I think you're muted, Karen.
Is there a way to turn up your volume? It's a little bit on the muffled low side, and we have ours all the way up.
Oh, I think that might be me. I'm very soft-spoken. I'll try to speak up.
Okay, sorry.
No worries. So there are two categories to interim housing. There is bridge housing communities, and the short version initials for that is bridge housing communities. We've been talking about District 2 has 2 EIH sites. So that stands for Emergency Interim Housing, which includes Bernal and Ferrari. So some of our concepts and philosophies on how to tackle homelessness include some of these approaches. So we can start at the bottom here. So one of our strategies, our core components, is to have a focus of being low barrier. So low barrier means that we want to reduce as many barriers for people staying outdoors, staying in vehicles, to come into shelter settings, interim housing sites where they can receive services. So that is one of the core concepts. Along with that, at the top right here, we do practice the housing first model. So the housing first model says, we want to put a roof over somebody's head and stabilize them, and they can work with a caseworker or independently to stabilize moving forward. So if the essential needs are being met, the likelihood of somebody focusing on those other needs, such as employment, increase in income, attending to medical needs, will be a lot easier once they focus on the housing first. So the housing first model says, let's take of your most immediate need, which is housing, and then we can focus on the next things. So that's the housing first model. And then lastly, the harm reduction approach. So we want to meet people where they're at. We don't want to provide any judgment. We want to kind of meet where people where they're at. so they're more likely to work with us and not be so turned away from receiving services. Okay, so interim housing. So EIH, so we have 2 of them in District 2, like we've been mentioning, Bernal and Ferrari. So specifically, these 2 sites were developed in a response to the COVID-19 pandemic. Each of these sites operate 24 hours, even on holidays, so we're always here. For those of you who may not be aware, we don't shut down our office spaces or leave the sites unattended. We have personnel, including security at all times. For Bernal, we have a capacity of 78 single adults, including 6 ADA units. And then Ferrari, which is a lot larger and has the capacity to house couples and dual occupancy. There are about 30 couples units, 40 single occupancy, and 12 ADA units. So ADA units have the ability to be wheelchair accessible and have larger restrooms and shower accommodations. At full capacity would be 124. Typically, the stay at these sites are 60 days with up to 2 extensions based on a case-by-case basis. At these sites, some of the amenities include restrooms, bathrooms, laundry, kitchen, an area for pets, and then also computer labs and meeting spaces for folks to meet with other providers. And right now we're lifting some of the COVID-19 guidelines. So we do expect to have visitors on site. And some of those individuals can be family members or positive support networks. So we're looking to reunify some of these households. Okay, so we've been talking about the sites. We've been talking about the structural basis of these sites. Now let's talk about a little bit of what the services at these sites look like. So we have a few personnel at the sites. At the top left here, you're going to see that we have frontline staff. These are considered the resident advocates. So the resident advocates are tasked with supporting the individuals on a daily basis. So let's say they want to build a resume, they want to find the local medical provider, the resident advocates will help them with these short-term goals and needs. Followed by that, we do have on-site caseworkers to provide support for more of the comprehensive housing plans. So this includes applying to housing properties, this includes applying for employment, and so on. Apart from that, if you see at the bottom left here, we also have clinician services. So we do know that a lot of the unhoused population may have diagnosed or even undiagnosed mental conditions. And so we want to provide that service as well. So we do offer clinical and therapy sessions for individuals, both individual and in group settings. And then the project manager, which is myself, oversees just the day-to-day operations to ensure that the site is being operated at its best potential. Top right, you see here, we have a community engagement coordinator. This individual is the person who goes out to the community and builds relationships with the neighboring community. So this includes businesses, also looking to get volunteers to hold some of our workshops. Underneath this umbrella, we have the director who provides the support to the project manager along with the new initiatives. The next slide here talks about what is the eligibility for some of these sites. So the very first thing is the person has to be unhoused, But more than that, they have to be defined as literally homeless. So the federal government, the Housing Urban Development specifies that somebody is considered literally unhoused if they are staying in the streets, encampments, or a place not meant for human habitation. So this includes vehicles. They must also be active in Santa Clara County or be in a City of San Jose funded rapid rehousing program. A few disqualifiers include any criminal history for arson, manufacturing of methamphetamines, and a 290 status. So for those of you who may not know, a 290 status are sexual offenses. We do establish community agreements to focus on ensuring that we are aligned with our local providers and with other local nonprofits that focus on bridging the gap for the unhoused. So just to ensure that we're aligned on the practices, we do have agreements with other providers in the area. So now that we talked about the sites themselves, we talked about the services, now talking about the referral types. So here's a list of how we define our priority levels for people moving into these sites. So I think it makes the most sense for us to welcome people who live near these sites. So as the captain was saying earlier today, services are being offered to some of the residents who are unhoused in the area. So they would be considered as top priority for any vacancies we have at these sites. Followed by that, we do work on city-funded projects and defined by their priorities. So this includes the most recent emergency response during the rainy season a few months ago. So individuals who were considered at risk along the waterways, those would be defined in this number 2. Followed by that, we do have individuals who reside in other high impacted unhoused encampment settings. So this is where the SOAR outreach referrals come in. Follow that by the citywide PR outreach. So this is the general citywide referral system. Lastly, the last 2 here are rapid rehousing referral types, followed by the Santa Clara County Office of Supportive Housing referrals. So once the individual is identified to move in, this is what the typical day looks like when they move in. So all parties must be present during the first initial move-in. Before anybody moves into these sites, we do go through a pest control treatment. So the pest control treatment is intended to focus on individuals' belongings. Most likely, what we want to focus on is minimizing pests, including bed bugs, fleas, ticks, mites, those type of pests. So what we do is we place these items in what is considered a hot box. And so essentially we are making the room very, very hot for some of these pests to die off. And so the next thing that we do is we set up a plan of action. So we want to identify how do we get you from this site to your own permanent housing situation. And so what we do is we come up with a comprehensive action plan. Apart from that, once they move in, we do have follow-up sessions. So we consider these to be titled case conferences. So this is where we all meet again to discuss where they're at in their progress with their goals. So we do these in 30-day increments. Apart from that, we also inform them that we do weekly inspections to make sure that the units are maintained, that there are no illegal activities, and to ensure their safety. any individuals who'd like to be added to the wait list to the interim housing sites would go through these 3 inboxes. So the Bernal inbox, the Ferrari, and the BHCs have 1 inbox for both Mayberry and Felipe. If you'd like to know more about HomeFirst services, you can see our website here. We also have a few social media handles, and you can take a look at those as well. So you have an idea of some of the projects and some of the success stories that we've had recently. If you have any additional questions regarding interim housing, you're more than welcome to give me a call. Like I mentioned, I do oversee the Ferrari project. So if you have questions about Ferrari, you're more than welcome to give me a call or send me an email. My supervisor is Gloria, and she can answer more questions regarding either sites.
Hey, Jose, can I ask a question?
Sure.
Can you kind of explain the difference between the the bridge housing, and then the EIH? And if there's any plan, because the EIHs were, created during COVID, is there any plan to transition them, or have they already transitioned to more of a BHC model?
Yeah, of course. So BHCs are more of the tiny homes that we have seen. So these are the ones that don't have a restroom or a bathroom or shower inside its unit. So the BHCs are considered smaller. They're more of the shed type compared to the EIHs, which are the larger sites, which are the modular buildings, and these do have restrooms and showers built into the unit. And so to answer your second questions about the COVID-19 response, so the city of San Jose has established these interim housing sites to be in phases. Phase 1 is to house the most at risk for COVID-19 exposure. After this initial phase, the intent is to make them into bridge housing type of servicing. So just housing folks who are unhoused as a time limited basis as well.
Okay, thank you.
I have a question.
Oh, we have another question. Go ahead.
Is there a time limit for each resident in the tiny homes? I mean, do they have a certain, like, 1 year, 2 year?
I think he mentioned generally it's 100, there's 60-day program with 2 30-day extensions for a maximum of 120. However, I'm pretty sure you guys on occasion will go over that, correct?
Correct. So very isolated situations, case by case.
I have a question, this is Greg. Since the Ferrari site has opened, how many people have gone through that process, and how many have gone into permanent housing?
I will have to get back to you on those figures, but I do know that we've had over 100 people move in, and close to that, we've had almost 100 move out as well. So what I can do is I can send you that information after this meeting in the next few days. So are you looking for the number of people who have exited, or are you looking for the ones who have exited successfully?
Both.
Okay.
Yeah. And I see there's some chat. Can you open the chat? I think there were 2 questions in the chat. I think go ahead. I go up. I think Michael asked one. How does new funding extracted from Measure E affect what your group does, and how will it be used in general terms?
I think what it will do, it will help replicate these sites and build more of them. So one site is not going to solve the homelessness crisis. So from my understanding, if Measure E funds are allocated for these sites, more individuals would go from these streets into more of a stable environment, and from there work on more of their comprehensive plans to be housed.
And there was another one. Go to chat again. where are homeless families housed if they're not allowed in the EIH sites?
Yeah, good question. So both of these sites in District 2, so Bernal and Ferrari, are adults only. But there is an interim housing site that is operated by another local nonprofit, PATH. So this facility does house families.
Yeah, and that's, was that Julie? That's in Evans Lane. It's over kind of off of Kirtner between Almaden Expressway and Kirtner, that area. And then also there's family supportive housing, which isn't an EIH, but it is an interim shelter for families. I'm sure there's others. I mean, I think there's like down in Gilroy, but those are two primary ones that I know of. And then also, do you know much about the expansion for Ferrari? Because we're understanding that there's going to be 100 additional beds there, approximately that many. And so is there any timing on that? And was any funding allocated through this budget cycle for that?
Yeah, the Ferrari expansion is the worst kept secret. But unfortunately, I don't have much information about it. That is more so in discussions with the city of San Jose.
So do you think it's going to happen this year though? Or any insight at all on that?
No insight on my end. We have had visitors from the city of San Jose surveying the land the last few weeks. We also just ended the most recent project on site. So like I was mentioning earlier in the presentation is that we did have a temporary encampment type setting inside the facility here. So that project just demobilized a few weeks ago. And some of those pieces are still being collected. So I don't envision anything as far as expansion until possibly later this year or maybe early next year.
Okay. Okay, anything else?
I do have a question that always comes up. How do you, as an organization, HomeFirst, address the concerns that people have that EIH sites bring problems to neighborhoods? What do you say, and can you prove that what you say is correct?
I don't know if I can prove it, but I think in what I've been hearing in the last conversation with the council member, with Captain, is the individuals are already here in encampment settings. And so there is, as far as I know, there is no data indicating that these sites are contributing to more unhoused folks. In the mayor's most recent press releases, it's shown that the more people are being provided with these stabilization sites rather than them being outdoors. So I'm not sure if I'm not sure if that answers your question.
Yeah, that answers it for now. Thank you very much.
Okay, I think we're ready to move on.
Yeah.
Okay, Jose, thank you very much for your presentation. We really appreciate it.
Thank you.
And now I think we're gonna have Issa do an update on the VTA, and Jose, you're welcome to. Oh, never mind. We'll have Issa do a little update on the VTA since he's the president of the CAC, that is the Community Action Committee for the VTA safe parking site. You're muted. There you go.
Okay. I mean, I don't know. Oh, there it is. I'm just seeing me, but full screen. No.
You want me to get
I
rid
don't
of
know how
that?
gallery. There it goes. All right, great. Sorry, guys. Anyways, this won't take very long. We just had our CAC meeting for this month. We have it once a month for anyone that wants to join, and it's for the safe parking on Santa Teresa end of the line light rail station, the VTA parking lot. And so a few key things we learned today was that everything's there and ready to, start, except, there needs to be an inspection done. And there was an inspection, and there's gonna be a list that's gonna be delivered the middle of next week. And once that list comes out, they're hoping it's nothing terribly, challenging. And the week of the 26th, which is the last week of this month, they hope to open it. They are gonna have a tour. And hold on a second. I'm having my tour. So if anyone wants to go, it's gonna be at 11:30.
What day?
Just gonna give that to you here. 6:15. I think it's like I'm sorry.
Just send it out in the email.
Yeah, I can send it out, but I think it's like a week from today, the 22nd at 11:30. And you just go to the site.
Before they move in.
Yeah, before they move in, yes. We won't be able to go there once they're moved in. I'm sorry, I didn't make that clear. So that'll be good if people, I'm hoping people show up, because once they see it, maybe they'd be encouraged that it's a good thing. What else is there? We're having once a month meetings, and there's 40 RVs in District 2 and District 10 right now. And 8 of them are ready to move in, and 12 of them are working on it. So 50% of them are. Six of the 40 are not interested, or no, are vacant. And 14 of them are not interested, but we're hoping that those 14, once they see it open, they're going to invite them to look around, and they'll hopefully see, hey, this is really happening. They have good facilities, they have bathrooms, and services, to dump the gray and black water, that kind of stuff. So it's safe, and then they'll be protected in that from the environment. So that's the numbers. After 1 month of opening, after 30 days, then they're going to open it up to the rest of the city of San Jose for RVs. But they're giving us 30 days to convince those 14 to move in. And one last thing, there's 9 from Columbus Park that are invited. 4 are interested, and 5 are not interested. And 2 out of the 4, I think, are already ready to move in. And that's pretty much in a nutshell. People have questions.
I have a question, Issa. This is Greg. Regarding the 40 that are going to be removed from the streets and placed into this position, will 40 more move in to where those came from? Did you hear my question?
I did, but my Lord up there in heaven is the only one that's going to know the answer to that one, Greg.
Okay.
I will tell you that the city of San Jose has nothing in place to stop that from happening.
Okay.
Prevent that. But
I was wondering if anything had been. I was wondering if anything had been transpired along those lines about the magnet thing.
No, we're trying to work behind the scenes on the people, like the 6 that are vacant. That is not going to be told to us, but it is going to be told to the city of San Jose. And I think the city of San Jose will do their magic behind the scenes to get those towed out. And I'm hearing rumblings that people that don't take up the offer to move in will be encouraged to move on, but nothing public.
Well, Issa, we would like to thank you for your hard work on that CAC, on that Santa Teresa light rail. Thank you very much for your work there. I think.
I have a question.
Yeah.
So Issa, can we replicate this? We've been talking about doing another one up in Almaden. Do you think what the city has done would be able to replicate this because you have done a great job? I appreciate that. So what do you feel about the replication of these RV?
They're doing a bigger one of 100 RVs. I think Issa, it's already been approved. And it's gonna be a lot different. They don't have to have, I don't know what's public, what's not, so maybe I shouldn't be saying things, but it's not gonna be as stringent as far as working vehicles. You gotta own it, you gotta have insurance. They're lowering the bar quite a bit just to get these people off the street and into this new safe RV parking on Issa, near Issa. I don't know where it is.
Yeah, because we were talking about one in Albany, and I don't know if the councilman knows about that one or it's been talked about. But I'd rather have these RV sites than other ones. So Mr. Batra might throw in about that some point, that we see more of these so we can get them off the street would be great for a lot of the people, you know, in the neighborhoods and our industrial complexes. They're kind of fed up with it. Right now, they're over by 85. They've gone back over there. So
Las Colinas, yep.
yeah. So hopefully some of those will go in there when that opens.
Well, the problem with replicating is it took over a year almost. Isn't it been almost a year by the time this is going to be open?
Well, I think it's well over a year, but when they signed the agreements with the city, I think in December of last year, you know, they were saying it was going to happen real quick, and you know, now it's close to July, so I think it just takes time, and every contract's different.
Yeah. I think this is the first one, and there were a lot of wrinkles to work through, including in the last couple of months, you had piece of equipment being missing. So, so chances of the next one taking a little less is much more appropriate, Issa.
I would imagine so, Councilmember. I would imagine so. I mean, the first one for San Jose, I think they caught all their mistakes.
Yeah, so you did all the hard work and creating the steps, and some of the steps had to be taken backtrack forward. So I think the next one, especially if you're involved, things should be moving a lot smoother.
Well, thank you.
There's a question from the audience regarding what does CAC stand for?
Community Advisory Committee.
Thank you.
I think he wants a little bit more than that. Can you explain what the purpose of the CAC is?
I'm sorry. So basically, it's, you know, you have the city of San Jose, the, you know, like from the manager's office, you have the housing department, you have Life Moves, which is the nonprofit. Like here, you had HomeFirst for the EIH that spoke. I think his name was Jose. So in this case, it's Life Moves. And then, you know, the CAC represents the community. And from what I heard, it's a little different. Normally, the district office runs it, but I asked if I could run it as far as me representing the community, and it was granted. And so it's been going really well. And, you know, District 10, there's always a representative there. So the CAC is the interface for the community. So if anyone has questions, they can come to me, and, you know, I can advocate for what their concerns are, that kind of thing. It's really a good thing. And honestly, you can, you know, put my email on the chat or whatever. It's really easy. 569issa@gmail.com. Email me and I'll put you on the list, and you'd be invited to the meeting.
Michael, would you like to be invited? Anybody in the audience? You have his email address.
Issa, you can actually put it in the chat, I think, can't you?
Yeah, but that means they gotta know how to work this. Hold on.
I mean,
So Issa, you do provide notes after your meeting. So if you're on there, you can see what happened if you can't make the meeting. So I appreciate your meeting notes. That helps us look at it if we can't attend your meeting. Also, Greg and Karen, are you still doing the HomeFirst involved, so people know that you're doing that?
yeah, so Greg and I are on the one that Issa described, where HomeFirst is more in control of it. And it's more just an informational pathway from HomeFirst to us. So it's not as much, we're not advising and advising, I mean, we try to advise them, but yeah, so we do try to advise them, but it's not, it's structured differently. It's more under their control and they present what they want to present, and we do ask questions and we do bring up issues that we think need to be addressed. So that's kind of how that works.
Thank you, Issa.
Thank you, Issa. So I think, Herb, did you need to say anything about CERT before we go?
We're preparing for a big event at the July 4th at Almaden. So the CERT community will be there providing communications. So if anybody, we're looking for anybody that wants to be involved, you get food and help out. It's a good experience to meet the community. So let Michelle know or myself and we'll get stuff going. So I know Greg's going to help out, which I appreciate. And so, yeah, I mean, we've got a lot of dedicated people that need help. So we're going to try to get more CERT people out to help them get it done. We are going to plan on doing teen CERT this summer. So I'm actively going after scouts and any group that has young people that might want to be trained in the CERT community. So if you know anybody, let me know, please. Oh, and also I'm sorry, one other thing, this, the 17th, Father's Day, Bernal Church is having their car show and barbecue. And if you got time, go over there. They have a tri-tip chicken, great event. And it's on their webpage if you want to bring your car over there and more information about Bernal Church. Christy Paulson's running that. That's it.
Thank you.
Okay, I have one question before we leave.
One last thing. It is June 22nd, which is a week from today at 11:30 in the morning for anybody that wants to take a tour of the state parking site. Sorry about that.
Good luck to our members.
Thanks.
Yes, thank you. So one other question, this is more for the people that are actually in here physically. What are your thoughts as far as future meetings? Is it worth doing it in person, or would it just be better to just continue on Zoom?
Well, this room has a problem with acoustic. So, I don't know about anybody else.
Where's the sound? Where's the sound originating from?
It's originating from this laptop, and then there is this little speaker. I don't think the speaker is strong enough for one.
Yeah.
So I think that was one problem.
But
But-
I think if you even had a bigger speaker, it just vibrate off this. I've been in many meetings in this room and
It's just always that.
Wow.
Now, how about the library? Well, like we used to hold
Just
stuff.
the acoustics of
How
it.
about Zoom? I vote for Zoom.
So I'm okay with going back to Zoom myself.
How about the library, Senator Teresa? We used to hold it back there. That was better than this, right?
Sure.
Okay.
Okay, I just wanted to check. I'm assuming that people that are on Zoom are okay with Zoom, so just wanted to get that input.
What was the population? Zoom versus
Well,
in-house?
there were 12 blocks, so there were 12 people on Zoom.
Okay.
And that's some neighbors, some presenters, but right, I think the maximum was 12.
With a couple of people coming and going, so the total people who logged in was probably a little more than 12.
Maybe 14.
Maybe 14, but 12 was the highest number we saw at one time.
And what about in here?
Well, there's
Five
maybe 5.
5 or 6.
4, 5, 5.
We're setting up 5 people. So it goes on. I don't know. It's up to you guys.
Yeah.
Well, we're working on trying to get
Okay,
ideas.
Before we leave, I have one question for you.
Can we, are you in it as part of the meeting, or can we adjourn the meeting?
do you want everybody to hear the question, or just let her ask, go ahead.
Yeah, go ahead.
Question from about a week, 2 weeks ago, you sent us an email that the courts south of the Avenida España are being resurfaced. My question is, when Bernal Road will get resurfaced finally, starting from Silicon Boulevard to San Ignacio, at least?
When's that gonna happen? Yeah, there's a calendar we can look at. There's a map and a
Yeah, I'll
calendar. We'll have
contact-
to look that up.
I know the person at the DOT can give me the final update, and could you explain your question again?
When is Bernal Road gonna get resurfaced?
When are they gonna resurface?
Bernal,
At Bernal Road. Gotcha.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's a whole map and list, and you can actually click on it and it's kind of color
Good-
coded.
good
And it
question.
says when, oh, this area is gonna be done in 2024, and this area is gonna be done in 2025. So we can look at that up and get back to it. Yeah. Yes.
Yeah.
We're very happy with the neighborhood. It's just getting into it is
Yeah.
Yeah.
pretty rough.
Okay.
And, sanitation. And all the new done. A little bit of work.
Yeah.
And hi,
Okay.
this is Amel from District 10. To answer that question, there's a link on our website. If she just goes to sjd10.com. So sjd10.com, and there's a link to all the paving schedule that's coming up.
Thank you.
Thank you.
That's exactly what I was looking for. I probably would have had to do more research than that, though.
Thank you, Amal.
Sure.
I got one comment on that. I got someone that came into Starbucks today. He's writing a letter to D10 because apparently it's peeling up on his street, the paving. I guess they repaired it yesterday or the day before, and it's already peeling up. So I don't know how you guys in Las Vegas area, all the repairs, but just a
Is
heads
that
up.
someone on one of the courts that they were redoing?
Yeah, one of the courts starts with an L.
Leo Meister?
Yeah, that one. That street, apparently it's peeling up and he's gonna write an email to District 10.
Oh, no, Greg
Just-
has some on his.
Issa, can you send an email on that one, please?
I'll do
To,
that. I'll
you.
do that.
You
I'll
can
do
send
that,
it to us.
John.
Send
I
it
know
to
the
us.
person on William Minster. I know the person on William Minster that's having that problem. I'll send you the email, Arjun.
You can send us and we'll follow up with because I've heard this comment one time before, but I did not have the specifics where the problem had happened. Could not discuss that with the.
We'll get a picture and send it to you.
Okay, all right, thanks.
Greg, one quick question. Do you have any information? They still going ahead with building a hospital, El Camino Hospital?
I heard that's on hold.
Sorry?
I heard that's on hold indefinitely.
Oh, okay.
That's what I heard. Yeah.
It doesn't surprise me.
Um,
I'm just curious.
Arjun, do you know anything about that? About the El Camino Hospital on San Ignacio and Santa Teresa? They bought the land and they were supposed to build a hospital, but I heard it's on hold.
Probably build another service.
So- The council member is still muted, but yeah, we don't have any plans or anything that's been submitted or any direction that's gonna happen. Just the Kaiser construction at Cottle, but not El Camino Hospital.
Yeah, like Amal said, I looked at the last report, which comes from the public, from our planning and permitting department and all that. I did not see any activity in that area. Like she said, we do know about the Kaiser Hospital's rebuild of their hospital part. And we had a presentation on that one. So there's a lot of detail available about that. The public meeting was held, but I've not seen anything in that list about the El Camino Hospital.
Okay.
So do you have the Kaiser information on your website?
We don't have the Kaiser information on our website, but it is on the generic the city website because city presented that one, and we can actually get you a copy of that. It gave what Kaiser is proposing, what they're going to demolish because they have to demolish their current hospital because of their seismic requirements and all that, and they're going to build a bigger one with 307 beds and where the energy will be located. So we do have a presentation of that one available. We can give you a copy of that one if you would like to circulate to your people.
Yeah, thank you.
Yes, we would like that.
Okay, we'll send you that.
Okay, I think we're close to being done. I see a chat. Can you see if there's something in the chat that we need to address?
I just put the link in there. It's sjd10.com/paving, if you want to be more specific.
Oh, Julie said in an old news article, they said they wanted to finish construction on the Mountain View Hospital and update on their Los Gatos. So yeah, I heard it's on long-term hold somewhere.
There's not a development sign on
Right.
there, so they
Yeah.
haven't submitted anything to the city.
Right.
I'd like to thank Councilman Arjun and Amal for taking the time with us tonight. And Arjun, I can see from what you've said that you really mean what you say when you listen to your constituents.
Mhm.
And you're asking for inputs and emails and so forth. So thank you very, very much.
Yeah, I
Thank you.
agree. I felt very listened to regarding some of the budget discussions. We definitely I felt heard. So thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
I think with that, the meeting's adjourned.
Yay.
Thank you.
Okay. Thank you. Bye.
Thank you. Good night.